Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Classic Wrestling Reminiscing. This edition of Classic Wrestling Reminiscing, we go back to 1984. Yes, I'm talking about Starrcade 84, the $1 Million Challenge. Why was it called the $1 Million Challenge? Because your main event of Starrcade 84 was Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. Not only was it for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, also at stake was $1 million to the winner. 16,000 people showed up at the Greensboro Coliseum to see a 11-match card. Uh, all brought to you by Jim Crockett Promotions. Of course, other territories had their wrestlers come in and defend their championships, like the Florida champion Jesse Barr defended against Mike Graham, uh, and a host of others. Before I get started, I would like to ask you to click on that like button. Also, leave a comment if you was around to see Starrcade 84 or remember watching uh, Jim Crockett Promotions at the time. What was your memories of all the build-up going into Starrcade 84? Also, be a champ. Leave hit that subscribe button. Do me today. Yes, be a champion. Hit that subscribe button. It'll be greatly appreciated. Well, without further ado, let's get started. So your first match of the night is for the NWA World's Junior Heavyweight Championship. It is the challenger Danny Brown going against the champion Mike Davis. And yes, this is back. If you're watching this on the Peacock or somehow find another way of watching this, you'll kind of notice not everyone comes out to entrance music. It wasn't uncommon to have neither wrestler come out to entrance music. Sometimes only one or two wrestlers would come out to entrance music at this time. I think most of the people who was famous for entrance music at the time was part of their gimmick was the Fabulous Freebirds, the Junkyard Dog. I think later on, I believe in '85, could have been '84 as well, because I did watch this on the Peacock. I'll get to that later. I think Manny Fernandez came out to Michael Jackson's "Beat It." So uh, anyway, even though this was a junior heavyweight championship match, there were no dives, flips, or anything like that. Uh, just a very fast-paced, uh, just mat wrestling, but a little more fast-paced, a little bit more moving around. This is also a pretty good babyface versus babyface match. No chops, you had your legal forearms, but forearms legal, open hand. Uh, but yeah, like I said, no punching or anything like that. Uh, Davis would hit the belly to back suplex into a bridge, but both competitors' shoulders were down. Daniel Brown would lift his shoulder up, and Davis would be counted out, making Danny Brown your new junior heavyweight championship. Danny Brown, of course, will make a career out of being the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. Mike Davis would go on and be one half of the Rock and Roll RPMs with Tommy Lane. Your next match, as Tom Miller would say, it was Brian Diaz versus Mr. Ito. Brian Diaz, of course, is a mainstay, or was a mainstay at the World Class Championship Wrestling promotion or territory, as he was a family friend of the Von Erichs. Uh, he would get this one with the airplane spin. Like I said, he was in here for a while, then went back to World Class. Mr. Ito, don't know much about him. It seems like he just would, go from territory to territory like a journeyman wrestler from, Japan, always doing the evil Japanese wrestler. Now we have a match, as I mentioned earlier, for the Florida Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Jesse Barr, defending against Mike Graham. Of course, Mike Graham being the son of the late Eddie Graham. Very good. These are two very good, technically sound wrestlers here. The Florida champion, as stated by Gordon Soley and Bob Caudle, was a catalyst for future world champions. And they kind of emphasize the importance of the Florida Championship being a prestigious regional championship. The likes of Wahoo McDaniel, Jack Briscoe, of course Dusty Rhodes, And even Superstar Billy Graham was a former Florida heavyweight champion. Uh, and also, key thing in this match, they knew how to cheat to win. The referee's eyes were squared on and focused on Mike Graham's shoulders. Barr's feet hit the grab the ropes for that extra leverage. As soon as that referee tapped three, uh, Jesse Barr removed his feet from the ropes, raised his hand, and that's how he won. It's cheating was an art back then. The whole point of cheating is make sure you didn't get caught. And it seems like today, referees is there to make the three count. Referees either look dumb or they just have the foreign objects right on them. Um, of course, Jesse Barr would wind up in the WWF in 1986 doing the Jimmy Jack Punk gimmick. He'd also go around the territories with that gimmick. Ended up in Portland Wrestling, I believe, where the Lone Ranger mask will be removed and be Jesse Barr. Everybody knew it's Jesse Barr. Uh, Mike Brand would continue wrestling in Florida most of the time. He'd also be an enhancement talent, trainer, and agent for WCW. The next match was a tag team elimination match. The Assassin #1, Jody Hamilton, teaming up with Buzz, I believe they call him Earthquake, Buzz Tyler, versus the San Bowie Express, Elijah Akeem and Kareem Muhammad. Like I said, this is an elimination match. Jody Hamilton, the Assassin #1, playing babyface, which was very rare at this time. Buzz Tyler, he was a regular in Kansas City and Central States territory. Came back home, stayed around JCP until he had a falling out with Dusty Rhodes. Then shortly retired after that. The Zambui Express were Elijah Akeem, who wrestled as Badly Ward Brown back in the Georgia territory. Babyface most of the time. Then he went to the UWF, stayed a heel, and wrestled as Badly Ward Brown. Kareem Muhammad was Ray Candy, again, another big babyface African American, wrestling in Georgia. I think he came back to Georgia a few times. Wrestled in, I guess I would say, the later part of Jim Crockett Promotions, right before that was going to become under Ted Turner, or right before Ted Turner bought it. He was Commando Ray. Grizzly Boone was Commando Boone. They formed the Commandos. Short-lived tag team. I think they did maybe a few independents. And Ray Candy would go on to do Georgia Independence after that too. The Assassin would get the pin on Muhammad. Akeem said, "Screw, I ain't doing this, 2 versus 1 crap." So they both left the ring. The winners of this match was the Assassin #1 and Buzz Tyler. All right, next up we have a Brass Knuckles Championship match. Basically, look at it as the Hardcore Championship, like WWF had back in the Attitude Era. Brass Knuckles Championship, a few little territories here and there had it. Like I said, it's basically a hardcore, except for they didn't do tables and kendo sticks. They probably use chairs, tape fists, of course, brass knuckles. It is the challenger, the Raging Bull, which they just call him the Raging Bull here, but it's the Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez, versus Black Bart. Both these competitors, they fought, bled. Again, no tables, no thumbtacks, no staple guns, just punches and kicks. Both, like I said, both bled. And Manny Fernandez wound up getting a win using a roll-up. Black Bart was trying to get the rope from James A. Dillon. Let's give Manny Fernandez the opportunity to do a schoolboy roll-up. 1, 2, 3, and Manny Fernandez became your new Brass Knuckles champion. He was also the co-holder of the World Tag Team Championships at the time with the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. I think they shortly lost it after this back to the Russians, Ivan and Nikita Koloff. Next up is #1 Paul Jones, who was mostly a manager at the time. He would go against Jimmy Valiant in a tuxedo street fight loser leaves town. This feud, of course, would go on and off forever. Paul Jones, who also spent his majority of his career in JCP as a wrestler, then became a manager. I think this is sort of the beginning stages of that feud. Like I said, this feud would go on for a few years. You had the loser league town, the hair versus hair matches. Um, at the end of this match, though, Paul Jones would win after J.J. Dillon hit Valiant with an object, knocking him out. So Jimmy, the Woogie Man Valiant, had to leave town, but he had a friend called Downtown Charlie Brown, and he would, you know, come in and take over on Jimmy Valiant's bookings. Few people thought it was Jimmy Valiant. I don't know. Maybe you should look it up. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was Downtown Charlie Brown Jimmy Valiant? Could have been. Um, this, of course, will bring in my pet peeve about watching stuff on the Peacock or the network and music. Just having Jimmy Valiant come out to that generic whatever instead of Boy from New York City. It, I mean, his movements and everything, it just doesn't blend too well to their generic stuff. And I'm like, did the WWF even try to talk to these musicians saying, look, you know, we bought this footage, we're going to stream it, it's already in it, you know, maybe we can, you know, put like a little tag on the bottom showing your name and the song title, give you a little bit of money, give us a little bit of money as far as uh, royalties go, uh, you know, something like that, you know, because look what Cult of Personality done for Living Color. Now you gets radio airplay on classic radio, and pretty sure they made a nice chunk of change as far as royalties and as far as like iTunes and Spotify streams and stuff like that. So, uh, but yeah, that's kind of my little pet peeve there. I hate that they got to use some generic stuff instead of the original entrance music because of the whole, you know, copyright royalties deals and. Um, I don't know. It seems like they could have worked out some kind of deal. Just my opinion. Again, this is an interesting subject to me. What do you think? Do you think they could have maybe taught these artists and said, look, you know, uh, maybe give you a little. I mean, it's going to be free advertisement for this song. So uh, again, let me know what you think in the comment. All right, up next is a Mid Atlantic Championship match. Of course, Mid Atlantic Championship is the regional championship of uh, the Mid-Atlantic Territory / Jim Crockett Promotions. The champion Ron Bass with J.J. Dillon going against Dirty Dick Slater. Two legit tough guys. The rumor has it, or the legend has it, whatever you want to call it, Dick Slater had a reputation of beating NFL football players as a hobby. If be at a bar, I guess somebody would talk smack, and Dick Slater would just go beat him up. And of course, there's a infamous story about him beating up Steen. There's another story I heard on Mike Graham's shooter interview where apparently him and Bob Orton Jr. got into it. Bob Orton Sr. was in the dressing room also at the time. So as he's, you know, Dick Slater's pounding in Bob Orton, he looked at the dad and said, "Hey, you want some of this?" And even, you know, the dad's like, "Hey, whatever. That's my son, but I'm not getting involved." Anyway, poor Sonny Parka, if you go back and watch this, he took many a bumps in this match. So he definitely earned his payday in this match, and he wound up taking another bump in this match. This will lead to a disqualification and Ron Bass keeping the title. Alright, now we have Ivan and Nikita Koloff, and if you get a chance to look at this one, look how jacked Nikita Koloff is. I mean, jacked to the gills. So yes, the Russians, Ivan Nikita Koloff, going up against Ole Anderson and Keith Larson, who was Don Cornell's brother. Don Cornell is in the corner, and he would wrestle after this as Rocky Cornell. Me, I definitely was an Ole Anderson fan. Don't care what anybody says about him. Ole Anderson, as a wrestler, I read his book. He just tells it like he sees it. Uh, he wasn't in the business to make friends. He was in the business to make money. He didn't care who you were. If he can make money with you, you had a spot on his card. Sometimes facing him, or tagging with him, if he can draw money with you. Uh, of course, I mentioned in the uh, JCP Carolinas uh, Tales from Territory. Scott Simpson is Nikita Koloff. Uh, like I said, the dude's freaking jacked here. Again, this is how you cheat in a match. Referee was distracted by the other two wrestlers that were in the ring who were not supposed to be in it because they weren't tagged in. They weren't the legal men in it. So referees trying to get them back to their corners. That's how you get distracted. Uh, then, you know, Ivan Koloff pulls a chain, nails Larson throws it back, covers him. Don't try and pick him up, and put him in the finisher. Just covered him, hook the leg. 1, 2, 3. Rush to pick up the win. After this, they try to attack Ole Anderson and Keith Larson. They did hit, or Nikita wound up sickling or clotheslining. He called it clothesline the Russian sickle. That was his finisher. To Darn Knoll. Darn Knoll did come back and made a save, hitting everybody with his crutches. Now it's time for your World Television Championship match. The champion Tully Blanchard going against Ricky Steamboat. He wasn't the Dragon yet, just Ricky Steamboat from Honolulu, Hawaii. Longtime tag team partner of Jay Youngblood. They held the NWA World Tag Team titles multiple times. Each guy put up $10,000, and also Tully Blanchard, if he got that DQ'd or try to run out, get counted out, he would lose the championship. Tommy, I seen it, and I will point it out. Tommy Young, probably one of the best referees ever. A little like a buffoon in this finish. Tully quickly grabbed an object from his trunks, hit Steamboat with it, put it back in his trunks. Referee made a 3 count, but referee was like right there and could see Tully pulling the object out of his hand, probably brass knucks, hitting Ricky Steamboat. Tommy Young made a 3 count. This was probably one of the last matches I think Steamboat had there. He would go off to the WWF after this and become a mainstay there for a while. That's where he adopted the Dragon gimmick. He knew, I guess, enough martial arts, plus his mom being Japanese. I mean, that's one of the reasons, if I heard the story correctly, don't mean to digress here too much. Back in Japan, in those days, if an American faced a Japanese wrestler, the American was a heel, Japanese wrestler was a babyface. Except for Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat was he was forever babyface. You know, what can you say? He was a babyface no matter if he wrestled, you know, Americans or Japanese. So that was a quick little tidbit there. Anyway, let's go to the next match. And this match is for the United States Heavyweight Championship. The United States Championship was looked at as the belt that made you the automatic #1 contender for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The champion Wahoo McDaniel going against superstar Billy Graham. Billy Graham looking a little leaner here, doing the Kung Fu phase. I came out at this time to Village People's Kung Fu fighting, but of course they had their generic stuff. Short match here. Wahoo won with his big chop, kept the belt, and I think he held on to it for a while until he lost to Magnum TA in a cage match. And of course now it's your main event, the $1 million challenge. Winner gets $1 million and walks out with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The champion at the time was Nature Boy Ric Flair, going up against the American Dream Dusty Rhodes with special referee Joe Frazier. Uh, a competitive match here, of course. They had a rivalry. I think at this from this point until probably '85, uh, Ric Flair became kind of a tweener. You know, babyface, heel, kind of in between guy. Uh, but dude was probably one of the best shapes of his career. Uh, Dusty being Dusty. Uh, anyway, they wind up getting outside of the ring. Flair throws him to the post. This, of course, caused Dusty to bleed. Frazier kept looking at it. It was right above the eye. Referee Joe Frazier wound up stopping it because Dusty Rhodes was bleeding so much. Even though didn't like it too much. I mean, like I said, I didn't really see it as a kid. I just heard about it. I was like, oh, that sucked. But in watching it now, it's like, you know, Dusty was kind of still fighting. He was into it. Um, and they would actually, the AWA would repeat this for Super Clash 3. More on that some other time. But yeah. So Joe Frazier stopped it. Ric Flair walks out with his NWA World Championship and $1 million check, which was probably just a blank piece of paper. He just kissed it, walked out with it, threw it in the trash because it's probably worthless. So yeah, uh, outstanding card. You had just legends up and down here, like Wahoo, Tully, uh, Ivan Koloff, Ole Anderson, Dick Slater, uh, the Assassin, uh, Jesse Barr, I guess Jim Jackpot. This Legends up and down. It's like I said, it was a pretty good show. Wasn't really a bad. I mean, it's not. You didn't see a whole lot of high flying at the time. Just good, snug wrestling at the time. I think some of that is missing. Uh, you can have your high flyers, but not every match needs to be a high flying match. Not every match needs to be a garbage match. Sometimes it's some good, sound, technical wrestling. That's all you need. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy this. Hopefully, everybody had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Uh, until then, you folks have a good one and take it easy. Also, don't forget to be a champion. Hit that subscribe button. Snuck in there. Anyway, yes, have a good one. Take it easy. Thank you for checking out my video. I really do appreciate it. And of course, this is the part where I ask you, if you're not a subscriber yet, to click on that subscribe button, leave a like, also share with friends. And if you want to follow me on social media, on Twitter, X, it's at RRPATRPTV 46. On Facebook, it's this Ronald Ray. And yes, I need to turn in my man card because I do have a TikTok. You can find me on TikTok at RP2Vision. As always, you have a good one and take it easy.